So this simple correction to the truss turned out in actual lab practice to not be so simple. People were getting a lot of errors with it. So I wanted to try and redo the video and maybe come up with a little bit of a fix for the problem. So I have that drawing on the screen now. Let's go to the roof frame here. Actually, let me close this drawing off. Save. I'm going to go to the an area where I can grab the frame, and I'll select it, and I'll go to Edit Family. And typically the problem we were having is when we make this cross member, it would no longer behave adaptively. So what I want to do is I want to just try another technique about it. Instead of going all the way across, I want to go from one point to the next and then from the center point over to the other side. So we're still going to insert some reference points. Make sure our 3D snapping is turned on. It's not necessary for this mode drawing. So I placed our 2 points in. I'll just move these quickly to make sure that we're behaving adaptively. And then I'm going to go ahead and place our reference lines in, snapping to the 3D points of there, and this time that center point. And then again, I'm going to carry it over to this side. And so now we have 2 individual points. And once again, I'll move our reference points just to make sure that we're not going to kick up any errors. And then I'll just back out of those steps. And we'll go ahead now and place another point on this line. And we can extrude all the way through when we create the shape. So we only have to do this once. It's just now that we have 2 different lines. So I've got to make sure I set a point and then set the reference surface. And we'll come in and draw a 2-inch diameter circle again. I'm going to make sure that this is a reference line. So I'm going to grab this line now, hold the control key, grab now the 2 reference lines, all holding the control key. And I'm going to go ahead and create the solid form. And we're going to once again test it. And I have an error. My error is coming off here again. And I'm going to actually just run through. Once again, typical what you guys are getting with this. Control Z. And let's go ahead and load it into the project and see if that error will carry through. So we'll overwrite the existing version. And we'll see what happens when we go and regenerate this. So it didn't seem to have a fatal error problem with it, but it still has some sort of an issue. So if you're having problems making that second element, like I've said to other students, you don't really have to create it. I mean, you could go through, you don't have to actually add that in for the project to be graded successfully. This is relatively complicated technique. It could be we've introduced some kind of an error here, something I can't necessarily diagnose right now. I really just don't have enough expertise in these kind of adaptive shapes to follow through with these this kind of an error. So once again, another technique, going from center points out and then extruding all the way through. The first time I did it, I got no errors. This time I did it and I got an error. So it's a little bit hit and miss for me, and I'm not exactly sure what the issues are there. Nonetheless, it's still a valuable component. I'll try to explain more about how this component not is just a truss, but as other kinds of elements in our buildings, is very valuable for us. So give it a shot. If you have a problem with it and you can't resolve it, don't really worry about it. Don't let it overly frustrate you. You're going to be living with space trusses and these kind of advanced concepts a long time, and we're always going to hit these kind of bumps in the road. And I really want your first experience to be a pleasant one. So good luck, and let me know by email if you're having specific issues. You could actually send me your truss, and I'll try and straighten it out for you and send it back if I can diagnose it myself.